Hello, my name is Hasibullah. I'm a tax accountant with MHU Financial Services, where we have been serving clients for over 13 years. We are located right opposite of McKnight Westwind train station. We are getting a lot of questions these days about home office expense. A lot of you are working from home and would like to know what type of expenses can be claimed when you're working from home. First of all, we need to look at if you're eligible to claim home office expense. So there are a couple of requirements. One of the requirement is that you have to be working from home on a not on a voluntary basis, which means you are required to work from home. Your employer has asked you to work from home, and you do not have an office in the main building in the principal place of business for your employer. You have not voluntarily chose to work from home. The second requirement is it has to be your principal place of work, which means you're working more than 50%. And also you have to be meeting clients on a regular basis. Zoom meeting, Google Meet would fulfill that criteria, and we have seen some court cases where the court has allowed Zoom meeting and video conferencing as a requirement to meet clients on a regular basis. So if you are eligible, you would have your employer fill out a form. It's called T2200, Declaration of Conditions of Employment. We suggest that you have this form filled now, then wait until March or April of next year. Couple of reasons behind this is we are seeing a lot of closure in the business. We're seeing a lot of layoffs. We're seeing companies relocating from one province to the other. So it's best if you can have this filled out now than having to chase your employer in March or April if they're still there. The other thing I would say is this T2200, government will be coming up with a shorter version of this T2200. It's a 3-page long. I think they will make it a little bit shorter, and so that it's easier for the employer to issue this. But if your employer is saying no, wait till the new year for your T2200, I would ask that at least get some kind of communication from them through email so that you have it in writing what your responsibilities are and their expectation that you're working from home and you would be able to claim some of those home office expense. Because if for any reason you're not able to get a hold of T2200 in the new year, at least those emails communication will come handy where the employer have mentioned that you are working from home and what your new work arrangements are. Just briefly, T2200, what does it cover? It covers the period from when to when you're working from home. It tells if you are required to travel for work. It tells us if you are required, if you're given any motor vehicle allowance, if there was any fixed or variable amount associated with it, if it was taxable on your T4 or not. If you were required to pay any expenses out of pocket, if you're a commission employee, it would also say if you're required to pay for your cell phone, for travel, for renting an office. There are a lot of various questions in this T2200, and it tells us what you are allowed to claim, what you have been reimbursed, so that we can file your expenses, or we can deduct your expenses correctly when it comes to filing your income tax. If your employer have paid you or reimbursed you for your internet, cell phone, or for a computer, and those are for the sole benefit of your employer, then those benefit is not taxable to you. Which means if the employer have provided you a computer and the employer retains the ownership of that computer, then that benefit that you got is not taxable, because at the end of the term, at the end of the employment, you would have to return your computer back to the employer. So those benefits are not taxable. If your employer have paid you $500, up to $500 is non-taxable. So if your employer paid you, let's say $1,500 to buy or set up your home office expense, the first $500 will be non-taxable, but the rest of it, the $1,000, would be taxable. You will end up paying taxes on it. Now, this is only, I'm talking about if your employer have paid you to set up an home office expense. For salaried individual who are working from home, you can claim for expenses for supplies that you have not been reimbursed. So if you're using supplies at home to work, let's say your stationaries, your printer, toner, not printer, sorry, toner, cartridges, stationaries, stamps, paper that you buy, those can all be claimed as in supplies because you are required to use those for work. If you are using part of your home as an office, so let's say you're living in a 1,000 square footage house or an apartment, and you're using 100 square footage strictly for office, so you'd be able to claim 100 out of 1,000, which is 1/10, 10% of the house as an expense. Now, what can be claimed? When we say you can claim home office expense, people have this idea that any expenses that I do, mortgage interest, renovations on the house, all those are claimable. No, there are very limited amount of expenses that you can claim. The first one is the utilities in the home, heat, electricity. Part of that can be claimed. Cleaning materials, maintenance on the house, those could be claimed. Your water bill, that can be claimed. So utilities mainly is what you can claim as an employee. If you are renting that house, if you're renting that place, you would be able to claim 10% of your rent for the month you have used your home as an office. Mortgage interest, property taxes, insurance, these are not deductible. So please, when you come to file your taxes, do not come with us with your mortgage interest, with your property taxes, with your insurance, because those will not be claimable. Why? That's what the law says. The law says you are required to maybe spend a little bit more in utilities, in heating, in electricity when you're working from home. So we would let you allow those deduction, but doesn't matter if you're working from home or not, those property taxes, mortgage interest, insurance, you would have paid it anyway. So why would we allow expenses or allow you to claim expenses for something that you would have paid even though you didn't work from home? So that is the government's standpoint. They're not going to change it even because of COVID, because that's how it has been for numerous years. If you are commissioned employee, which means you're getting commission payment, you are allowed to claim part of your property taxes and insurance besides all those other expenses. But a salaried employee, a person who's getting salary, is not eligible to claim mortgage interest, property taxes, insurance. Those are not deductible. What else is not deductible? And I would like to bring this on to you because better to bring it now than in March. The setup fee, the office setup fee, maybe you had to buy a desk, a computer, a monitor, a printer at home, because those assets or those equipment that you have bought, it has a lasting benefit that's gonna last more than a year. That is not technically a supplies, it is an asset for you. Those do not qualify for us to claim as in supplies, as an expense for home office. So even though you had to pay money out of pocket to buy chairs, desk, webcam, monitors, even a USB key do not fall into the definition of supplies, and therefore we cannot take a deduction for those. Internet. We have to use internet to work from home. The government, CRA, has come back and said, doesn't matter you use it for home or use it for your office or use it for your work, you had to pay your internet bill, so we will not allow internet bill deduction. There was a recent court cases in Quebec where the judge has said no, we should be eligible to claim part of your internet expenses. So we will see CRA making some exception for us this year to claim some of those internet expenses. So we would have to prorate. We cannot claim 100% or 50%. If you are paying $80 a month for internet, maybe we can claim 20%. That would be reasonable use for your employment purposes. So we would be able to claim 10 to 20 depending on your usage. We would be able to claim part of that for the months you are working at home. Cell phone or telephone bills are not eligible to claim. If you were using your minutes, if you're using your long distance, if you are paying for long distance, you would be able to claim part of the long distance charges as a telephone expense or work from home expense, but not your regular monthly bill. That is not eligible. What is not eligible? Your monthly telephone bills that you pay are not eligible. Internet expense used to be not eligible, but we should be able to claim part of it because of that recent case in Quebec where the court has allowed part of that to be claimed as an internet expense. Your anything that any supplies that you buy, not supplies, any asset, any equipment that you buy, which will have lasting benefit more than a year, you're not able to claim it as an expense. If you're buying a hard drive, if you're buying a USB key, a monitor, a keyboard, a computer, a printer, a scanner, I'm sorry to say, but sorry, those are not eligible expense. Things are different for self-employed. In this video, we're only going to cover employee or salaried employee. So things are a little bit different for if you were a subcontractor, if you are a self-employed individual. For you, some of those expenses can be claimed. The other expenses is the travel expenses. If you do not have a workplace at the head office, that means your main office for you, your main place of business is your home office. So if you are required to travel for work, if you're required to go see a client, or if you're required to go attend meetings in your head office once or twice a week or once in a while, you can keep a track of those mileage and you would be able to claim travel expenses. So if you are, when we regularly commute to work, that is not eligible expense. That is not a travel expense. But if you go to work and you're required to travel from one place to the other, so one place of business to another place of business, that travel, if you're not reimbursed, you are able to claim mileage on it. Now, how do you claim it? You keep track of how many kilometers you have drove in the year, how many kilometers you have drove in total for the year, for both business and personal. You bring us your total gas expenses, total insurance, total repair and maintenance for that vehicle. Then we would go and claim, we will prorate how much you have claimed for your business, and we will show it as a travel expense in your tax return. I know there are a lot more questions that you might have, and there might be some specific questions that would go that you might have. So please ask your questions in the comment below, and I will try to answer those. Our next video would be on TFSA versus RRSP. If you are thinking about putting money into TFSA or RRSP, I know a lot of you are doing investments these days because the stock price is so low. But we would talk about, what are the benefits of putting it into RRSP versus putting money into TFSA, and also not only the tax benefit, but how your other benefits might go up, might increase because of putting some money away into RRSP or contributing into RRSP. So like our video, share in Facebook if you can. Also like our MHU financial page on Facebook, so that you can get updates on tax return next time we upload a video. And thanks for watching. Our office is right opposite of McKnight West Wind train station, but because of physical distancing, we don't know how it will be next year. We would advise you to file through email. It's very easy. Just go to our website, mhufinancial.com. There's a tab, file by email. It tells you all the instructions as to how we can file your return through the email. We can take your signature through the email as well, and it's much easier that way. It keeps you safe, it keeps us safe, our employees safe. So we would try to promote to do a lot of this tax return through email in the new year, rather than physical meeting. If we are required to talk, we will talk on the phone. We can do Google Meet, or we can do Zoom conferencing. We are all open to that, so that we can keep you safe and our employees safe as well. And thank you for watching this video.